bestsellers from the 80s, and she now writes these sharp columns. She's tech savvy, she's an Insta queen, and she's a midnight child who chronicles the ups and downs of our country, and I couldn't think of a better person to speak to us on the eve of Republic Day. So de facto, she will be in conversation with another young woman, Sakhi Singhi. Sakhi is an animal activist, and this is her second session here. Over to you, Sakhi.
Thank you so much. Well, it's my birthday today. I couldn't think of a better way of celebrating it than sitting across from you, someone who's watched, written, and often even scandalized generations.
Sakhi,
Yes.
This is a tea time session, so this is Mokai Bari tea that will be now served to lovely ladies.
Lovely. I think we'll pour it, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, and often scandalized generations with this very enviable stamina, I have to say. So my first question, I have a bone to pick with you actually, which is you've been a chronicler of the times, you've been a national treasure, but you hate being called a cultural icon. Why is that?
It's so pretentious. Come on, you don't go around calling yourself anything. I don't like labels, so though it's extremely flattering, I'd rather concentrate on you and your birthday. You're a beautiful young lady. You are the Republic's child in a way that I find very optimistic and extremely encouraging, that we need more young people like yourself, committed and doing what they're doing with so much passion. So, what you asked earlier, that I've scandalized generations, thank God. Because it would have been an extremely boring world for me, personally speaking, and particularly as a writer. I believe our job is to provoke. I mean, scandalize has many connotations. I don't necessarily buy into the literal connotation of scandalizing society. It's not as if, you know, I've run naked on Juhu Beach or something. That's it. I would have wanted to do it if I had the right body like Pratima Bedi did. But the point is I haven't. Scandalize through what I feel, what I say, what I believe in, what I share in the public domain. And I've been doing that for 54 years without taking a single break. So I've been writing in that space and giving it my all, because there is no other way to do it. There should not be any other way to do it. And you should never compromise with your own belief systems. And you're neither a performing flea for your readers, nor are you going to shy away from things that make society uncomfortable. That's how I've seen my role over these 5 decades of writing. So if it has, in fact, woken up at least a few people, scandalized and shocked many more, I think I've done my job.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. So imagine you're sitting across your younger self. What piece of advice do you have to give to her?
My younger self, in using today's lingo, someone at the previous Lit Fest in Chennai, which is a very conservative city, and a young person got up and she said to me, you know, and she was paying me the hugest compliment a young person can pay someone of her grandmother's age. So she said to me that you're such a badass. And I said, oh wow, I really thought she meant it, and I know the context in which she said it, and it meant much more to me than to be called a cultural icon, which really is a very vacuous kind of description, and a very, in many ways, description without contours. Badass says it all. So my younger self was a badass back then, and I guess I never quite grew out of it. So what would I say to my younger self? Take many more risks than I did at 13, 14, 15, because what I now looking back, it's all very well to say take risks. A woman, a young girl particularly, cannot take those risks because she doesn't have the wherewithal to take the kind of risks that can maybe change her future, of course, but also comes with a lot of other kind of baggage. It means I could have run away from my family, for example, but I didn't feel the need to do it just to prove a point because I grew up in a very secure and loving atmosphere. But I'll give you an example. I was a national level competing athlete, so I played for the state, I held state records, I played I played hockey, I played basketball, and I was selected to go to Patiala to play for the nationals. And my bureaucratic conservative father said there's no way that at 15, I could have been 14, you're going off to Patiala to play whatever you want to play, and there is no future in athletics. So, I mean, looking back, I could have now saying to myself, I could have been PT Usha, but there's no point in thinking of what if and I could have. Point is, it didn't happen. Yeah. Did I have the courage to say, well, goodbye family, borrow money from a neighbor or a friend, jump on a train and go to Patiala and train for the nationals in a very serious manner? I didn't do it. Similarly, I won a lot of art contests and I really enjoyed painting, a lot. But when my father said, this is not going to get you anywhere, why don't you appear for the IAS? So I said, I can't do this to unsuspecting people in Satara where I might be posted as an assistant district collector. It's just not fair to those people, and it's not a skill set I possess. So there were a lot of options, a lot of opportunities which, looking back, maybe would have been transformative, but I have absolutely zero regrets about any of the crazy, wild decisions I did take. And I think that's important. Because women are not encouraged to take decisions of a kind that can upset the equilibrium within family.
You're quite a compliant badass, I would say. I mean, to think of the fact that you actually took very rational decisions also for yourself was very, I think, ambitious of you to do.
But without money, what kind of decisions can any woman take at any age and stage? There can be no talk of, oh, I am a woke woman, I'm so independent in my thinking, I want to live life on my own terms, but hello, I can't pay my bills. That is something so restrictive and so, in so many ways, such an inhibitory factor for women to dream their dreams. So we need that. We need to be maybe subversive. We need to be sometimes sly and use tactics to get the people in our environment to support those dreams without necessarily being combative and without generating hostility within family and within your own immediate peer group or your work environment. So this is what I have emphasized over and over again wherever I have a chance to talk about things that matter, especially to young India and young women. And I have raised a family of 6 children, 4 of them are daughters, and 8 grandchildren. And I keep saying that to them repeatedly, that you must earn your own money. Without financial independence, there can be no talk of any other kind of independence. So on the eve of Republic Day, that's a strong message that must go out to our young women, that no matter what, and education, unless you have a shot at education, we had a shot at education, that's why we are sitting here and talking to one another. And there are thousands out there, though social media has, in so many ways, created a generation of women in rural India who have found catharsis and a sense of self, because all they need is a smartphone. And they're shooting these reels day in and day out. They're talking to the world, actually. They are dancing, they are creating, they are sharing, they've got kids running around them, husbands somewhere in the background, but they're being themselves. For centuries, women had no voice at all. Suddenly that voice has awakened millions across, especially in our country. And I think that's the upside of social media. and that is completely democratic, and we should not in any way try and suppress these new voices of women who are saying things differently, strongly, and confidently in a society that can actually go after them. You're living in a village, you're shooting these reels, the village elders are looking at them, your extended family is looking at them. You just, I think it's so courageous. These are our heroes, and we must encourage and support all these voices.
You, in Insatiable, there's this really funny anecdote about Agent Vishnu giving you a house help who then puts up videos on TikTok. I found that to be extremely hilarious, and you mentioning the fact that we've sort of, this digitalization has given us this democracy, and especially to rural India. I can totally relate to that even more now. You mentioned that you get bored of places. Delhi bored you, and Mumbai made you grow up too fast. Would Shobhaa Dé exist if you weren't writing in Mumbai, if Mumbai wasn't being a collaborator for you?
No chance. No other city in India would have tolerated me. So that in itself says everything. And living with a family that is, my father was a bureaucrat, so you can imagine the atmosphere in Delhi being extremely restrictive and judgmental. And my spirit was too restless to be able to contain all of that and still dream. So when my father was transferred to Bombay, that was honestly my big liberating moment. It was a seminal moment for me. Everything changed because Mumbai really and truly is a city for survivors. It's a very tough city. It's a very unforgiving city, but it's also a city that celebrates people who come with no baggage. They speak for themselves. You walk into, I'll give you a comparison, as some of the people may not quite love this comparison, but it's inevitable as a writer who travels a lot, observes a lot. In Delhi, it'll always be, you meet someone for the first time, especially in bureaucratic circles, they'll ask you, or in business circles even more, it's nauseating, which colony do you live in, which part of New Delhi are you from? So that immediately their minds are going tick, 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 and they're giving you a certain position, social status, or lack of. You go to Chennai, they'll ask you, which caste are you from? No, which subcaste? And which subcaste were your ancestors from? You come to Kolkata, it'll always be, but what about your great-grandfather? Where is he from? Which part of Kolkata did you grow up in? North? South? Oh, you're from the other side. Oh, okay. So then conclusions are already made. And a lot of it has to do with legacy and the past. You come to Mumbai, it is savage. It is savage. You've got to be feral. You have to watch your back. You have to be on red alert. Because the only thing they care about is, who are you? What do you stand for? What have you done that is even remotely impressive? And if you're kind of past that first litmus test, which Mumbai does subject people to, chances are you'll make it. And if you can make it in Mumbai, like they say about New York, you can make it anywhere. Because otherwise it'll just push you off the edge.
But with the Nepo kids really growing, what is how is it that they're getting so much attention?
Because they're Nepo kids. Nepo kids across the world have a natural advantage. And I don't know why we are so resentful of these Nepo kids, because they are actually committing harakiri themselves without any help from any of us. So it's okay, they're given a shot at something. They maybe have that advantage over those who can't get their toe into the entertainment world, for example. But having gotten there, it's the audience and the audience alone that will determine whether they stay or they go. And most of them disappear back into the woodwork and stay there because they really aren't hungry enough. They don't really care. They're privileged enough. They love the idea of instant fame, instant money, all of it. And if they don't make it, it's no big deal. They already have a safety net. They have a nice, warm, thick cushion on which to fall back. So but Nepo kids, whether it's in business, why only talk about entertainment, whether it's in the music world, business world, in any commercial field, which is very competitive, the children will always be given that first natural advantage. And then it's up to them whether they take it forward or they fall flat on their faces.
I think you had a really good comment about A.R. Rahman's dissatisfaction with the movie industry. And I actually thought that was really talking a lot of sense in terms of what you have to say about Bombay, because they're very, I think you and Javed Akhtar ji said that in Bombay, no one is really looking at caste, no one's looking at religion, no one's looking at any of these things. They're just looking at pure talent, right?
Particularly entertainment.
Yeah.
Because the way Bollywood works, it's not just an A.R. Rahman. And he has spoken for himself, his family has defended him, and so have some important politicians who have backed what he's saying for political reasons. But I'm not going into that. So I don't think he needs either a spokesperson to defend him, nor a critic to tear him down. I just felt what he was saying, maybe he was pushed into it, like a lot of my media friends were saying, that the BBC is notorious for doing that. They kind of it's an unsuspecting person in that studio. They can manipulate you in a way that you don't know you're getting manipulated. It's possible he was taken off guard and said something he may have regretted, and he's entitled to it. I mean, he said his piece, he has apologized, he has gone purple in the face saying it was misconstrued. But the important point is this. A.R. Rahman is up there with the greats. He's up there with the greats of the world of music, not just in Bollywood. And if for any reason he has felt uncomfortable, maybe we shouldn't dismiss it off completely. Maybe he's saying something that we have blinkers on. It's possible. On the other hand, the movie business is I'm not just going to talk about, the 3 Khans or the 5 Khans who rule and have ruled for over 3 decades, but I'm talking about the framework of Bollywood itself. I'm talking about the technicians. I'm talking about those on set, the people who make a movie happen, who one never even hears about. I'm talking about the spot boys. I'm talking about those who assist music directors, the people who work in the teams of all our actors, and who are on a shoot. No one has ever thought in terms of asking, them to produce any kind of religious identity. And that's how it's always been. It's been a very integrated world. It's a world in itself and for itself. But religion has never been, all these decades of Bollywood's existence, and I'm talking for over 100 years, there have always been Muslim directors, Muslim music directors, choreographers, female stars, who were very prominent leading members of the entertainment world. So to bring that in, when I said it's a dangerous kind of conversation to begin, I hold on to my statement that it is dangerous to inject something that maybe doesn't really exist in reality.
I want to talk about how you write about intimacy and how you think that's evolved from socialite evenings to the sensual self. How has intimacy evolved over the years of your 50 years of writing?
Socialite Evenings was written in 1989, and it was a book commissioned by Penguin India. They just launched Penguin in India, and they had identified 5 writers at the point who they felt would be able to, get readers. When I was commissioned that first book, I was told in a way that was very patronizing, very condescending, that you do realize that there is no market for women's voices. No one's interested. So almost like we're doing you a favor by giving you this great and wonderful opportunity, which I turned down instantly at that point. And that across the world there have been surveys, and women's voices, well, they don't really cut it, they don't get in the numbers. So when the book did come out, and it was a bestseller, and all the books that followed, in many ways, some kind of groundwork was being created, a kind of a platform. I didn't know it then, the publishers didn't know it then, and maybe there were a lot of young writers, there are hundreds of them today, writing far better books than I could ever have written, certainly far superior to Socialite Evenings and to a lot of the other books that came subsequently. But today the environment is so different. And there are people actively encouraging young women to speak up. In my generation, speak up, those two words didn't exist. It was silence. And that silence was something that bothered me, continues to bother me. And the question of silence being an option does not exist in my life.
Thank you so much. I want to ask you, as we step into the world of AI and synthetic relationships, where do you think this generation is headed with intimacy? I mean, there is enough research that says that this generation is not having enough sex, this generation is not intimate, relationships feel very mediated. What do you think, when you're writing about sensuality right now, what do you think is different for this generation?
A lot has changed and a lot has not. So just to give a context to the writing of this book, many years ago, I had co-edited an anthology called Uncertain Liaisons with Khushwant Singh, dealing with intimacy. And we had invited a lot of scholars, psychologists, sociologists, psychoanalysts to contribute to the changing contours of sensuality in our country. And maybe the work was a bit too academic, it was too professorial, and it didn't find readers. It was a big tome. It was really a big and very comprehensive anthology, which I'm very proud of. Rereading that now and thinking about what I've just recently published, it makes me wonder what has actually changed that's radical, what has changed that was not talked about then but swept under the carpet. What are we not sweeping under the carpet today? There's not been that much of a significant change. We are still uncomfortable discussing intimacy. We are still uncomfortable having conversations around it. And like you rightly mentioned, AI is changing the scenario in such a dramatic way. I think we are still too close to it, but we should not be threatened by it. Eventually, we will live with it very compatibly because we actually don't have a choice. So the sooner we make our peace and come to terms with AI, not see it as an intruder or a threat, but as a companion, and that we work together. Young people, I feel very strongly, especially for Gen Z, that they grew up, their formative years were during the pandemic, during COVID, when all of us had undergone emotional upheaval and almost cataclysmic change around the world that had never been experienced before, and I hope we never ever experience it again, at least in my lifetime. They were very lost. All the more reason to have these conversations with them, because they don't understand emotionalism, sentimentality, intimacy. They hardly make eye contact. They're not really listening to anyone. They've got their earpods. So conversations almost non-existent. They have their own language. But unless we, as older people, make that effort, they're not going to make that effort themselves. Unless we try and decode their language, they are fine and they're okay with their language, their gestures, their short forms, their emojis, their texting. They're really quite okay in their little bubble. So the generation that has to adapt and retrain ourselves to listen to them and pay attention to their lives in a way that is with empathy and not judgment. That responsibility is our responsibility, not theirs. They are the future.
I want to play this small game with you. It's called Flashback or Fast Forward. So I'm going to name a trend.
Are
And
you Karan Johar?
Yes.
Where's my hamper?
Well, I'm sorry. I promise to give you one. If you win, only if you win.
Against whom?
Against
Oh, the
the
crowd.
crowd. Yes,
Okay.
the crowd. So I'll name a trend. You'll say flashback if it belongs to the past. You'll say fast forward if it's only getting stronger. Okay?
Okay,
Yes. So cancel culture,
fast forward.
corporate feminism,
Doesn't exist.
Oh.
Or it exists in a distorted form. They think they're driving the change, but I don't think it is going to work exactly as per the change they have. They so desperately crave the validation they need. It's still loaded in a man's. It is still very much loaded in their male colleagues' favor. No one is looking at the guy walking to an office and saying, hey, you don't look at the color of his shirt. Are his pants too tight? What about his body language when he walked past the desk? No one scrutinizes colleagues, men, but that scrutiny is still very much present in the corporate world, and so are judgments. How has she got that promotion? It can't be because of her merit. Cannot be. Impossible. Oh, not if she looks the way she looks. It's got to be, I'm sure she's got a side hustle going. These are questions men simply don't have to navigate or deal with. So that culture, I don't see it changing in a hurry.
When you're saying that, I have to bring up this question, which is, even in your book, you bring this up, where a bunch of ladies ask you, like you're writing, like it's just for fun, like you're not this disciplined, globally analyzed, debated over author. Why do you think this dismissal persists?
You know, if I were to spend a lot of my time thinking about their neurosis, I wouldn't be able to write my next book or my next column. So I really don't pay any attention to it. I dismiss it. I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm doing it the best I can and with as much commitment that I bring to it and which I have for over 50 years. It's their problem.
Thank you. Do you think there's genre or gender that has to do something with this?
I hate the idea of the victim card, you know, my God, because I never ever describe myself as a female writer, woman writer, because if Amitav Ghosh, if he's in the audience or when he walks in, we're not going to say a male writer has just walked in, right? So I hate that idea of putting women into those boxes and categories. I'm a writer, and the rest are readers who judge me or don't judge me or don't like me. But, you know, winning a popularity contest has never been a preoccupation for me. And I think all of us who do whatever we do in our lives doesn't have to be in the public space. If we are going to be living our lives for approval and validation, chances are we will never ever realize our own true potential, because that's going to paralyze us and drain us of the energy we need for ourselves to be just better at what we do.
What is the mantra to this? I mean, I'm asking.
Survival.
So back to, that's a lovely answer. So back to flashback and fast forward, literary censorship.
In which context? In India or where?
In India.
Literary censorship.
Yes, just censorship.
Censorship, now that's a much bigger.
Yes.
That's opening up a whole Pandora's box. I'm happy to talk about it for the next 3 hours, but we don't have those because I have very strong views about all of that, particularly what's happening at LitFest. I hope this one is an exception, but all the LitFests that I have been attending and talking to the organizers who have been asked to submit lists of invited authors, lists of their work, their books. If they don't meet with the requirements of the state government, they are not. Their invitations simply don't go out, and it applies a lot to authors we are inviting from overseas. For mysterious reasons, their visas don't happen on time, or if they are invited, they are briefed to keep it kind of non-offensive. So it's an environment where only those who are bland or whose opinions don't shake up the establishment are given any kind of encouragement as writers, or their books are read, seen, discussed. but anything that generates a strong response or is a critique, more importantly, or an oblique critique, forget a direct critique. I've faced that myself as a columnist, that I've been nudged by some editors to say that, do you just want to tone that down? I said, hell no, I don't. If you don't care to publish it, I'll find 10 other people who will. I can publish it myself, but I am not going to compromise and write to a script that is approved of by the center. I will simply not do it.
So the next segment is, who should stop talking? Who should stop talking about Indian values?
The hypocrites, those who are forever moralizing, the moral police. The young should keep talking because that's a lot of learning right there. I think people of my generation, it's about time we shut up.
About feminism. Who should stop talking about feminism?
We have never started in real terms. We have never talked about it the way it deserves to be talked about. And it's been converted into some kind of a battle of the woke and the people who are not woke. I don't understand that word. It annoys me intensely. And I'm definitely not woke, but I've lived with myself and I've lived with my values, and so have all my female colleagues and my family, without sticking a little label saying we are feminists. We don't have to do that. We just have to live with our truths and have those respected as the truths coming from the men in our lives. So it's just a question of, it's not combative at all. It's compatibility. What one wants is just a level playing field. It's not women against men, men against women. Not at all. Let's just tune into each other. Let's just listen more attentively to what the others are saying. And there are many times these days when I feel, honestly, and maybe it's the most unwoke thing to be saying, that it's the men who need nurturing much more, the young men in our society, because they don't know. They don't know which side of the fence they belong to anymore. It's not like my father's generation. They knew exactly where they belonged. This is a generation that's caught in the whole ambiguity around gender roles and no conversations around it. We're talking to the women, but we're excluding the men. I think it's a very big mistake. We have to talk together, not one versus the other.
We should stop talking about women's bodies.
Why?
That's a good one.
Happy to talk about men's bodies. It's just that women's bodies are... I'm happy to, honestly bring that to the table. And it's wonderful to see that more and more men in public spaces in the movies are happy, very happy to be objectified and are getting paid a lot of money for it. So it's finally somewhat equal there.
And who should stop talking about marriage?
The marrieds.
Now, there's a one-liner advice. I'll throw situations at you, and you will give us one-line advice. I'm sorry.
Torture.
Yeah. On ambition.
What it means to me personally?
Yes.
To me, it means just one thing. It's a two-letter word. It's N-O. When I can walk away from anything at all that does not suit me, my belief systems, no matter what is on offer, and I can say no and walk away from it all, that to me is success and ambition rolled into one. I can just walk away from something that makes me uncomfortable.
On heartbreak.
Oh, we should all have lots of them. Honestly, they just make us better people. We learn so much. We learn about our own vulnerabilities, our emotions. To get hurt is so important at any stage in life. If anyone says, oh, I'm bulletproof emotionally, I feel sorry for that person. Terrible. You're missing out on something so big. I mean, what's better than being Devdas, sitting in, with a bottle in your room, a female Devdas too, and letting the wine comfort you while you're wallowing and wallowing that why was it not reciprocated? Where did I go wrong? Every person should have a Devdas moment or two in their lives.
A one-line advice on jealousy.
Negative, waste of time. Just get rid of the person, whoever it is.
On success?
It's not, it's, I don't know, I don't find it so sexy to discuss it. Become it. In your own terms, I mean. It doesn't have to be validated by the world.
And the last one on scandal.
Oh my God, bring it on, more. It keeps conversations going. I hate the idea that scandal is so misrepresented. I'm here as an advocate of scandal. We need more of it, particularly in politics, because they get away with murder, literally, and all manner of hideous acts, male politicians, rape, kidnapping, beyond. Why does no one want to unearth any of those scandals? Because they dare not. So the day we dare, we'll be a better society and certainly a stronger society in a democracy than letting people hide behind their power.
Things you're bored of. So a question that you're bored of being asked.
No, I don't want to share it. No, it's that boring. And I'll probably be asked that. So let me see if what I'm thinking will happen or not. If it does happen, I promise you I'll get up and say, that's the question. The most boring question.
Okay, great. A compliment that you don't trust.
Oh gosh, that's a tough one.
Cultural
I'm very
icon.
awkward with compliments, believe it or not. Oh, wow. I trust only Gopal Gandhi. And his compliment, I completely trust. And that happened only last week. When he said to me, in company, in the presence, I said, Gopal, we have witnesses. And he said, you're the most truthful writer in India today. Aww. I said, Gopal, repeat that again, louder, louder. And he did. And I said, is it okay if I quote you? He said, I'll be honored if you do. That is something I'll always treasure and value.
A thing you're bored of, a trend that you're bored of in the Indian media.
I think the fake wokeism, where everybody, or the politically correct stand on things. What else? Yes, giving excessive coverage to the sisters, brothers, cousins, uncles, and aunts of movie stars who are getting married, and pages about their marriages paid for. And I don't get it. I mean, I can understand a movie star's marriage. We're all, of course, we want to know.
Yeah.
Why do we want to know who Kirti Sanan's sister is?
Oh my
marrying?
God, absolutely. That was everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was annoying. And also about the mangoes. Like, can we not eat mangoes on national television, please? Thank you.
But watermelons we can talk about. Can we? Not tonight?
Not tonight, please.
Okay.
I'm
avoiding watermelons. But please remember, I did use the word watermelon this evening. It's important.
Okay. So I have, now this is actually going to be rapid. So, yeah, so there's one last rapid segment and then we leave it to the audience. So power is seductive or exhausting?
Very seductive if you use it well, exhausting for the other people who have to keep listening to how powerful you are when you're not.
Love is overrated or unavoidable?
Oh my God, underrated. Please, we need much, much more of tenderness, love, sentimentality, gooey stuff. We all need to become marshmallows, essentially.
And freedom is lonely or addictive?
Neither. It's precious and it's indivisible.
And I know a lot of the people in the audience have questions for you, so I'm going to throw it to the audience to ask questions to, of course. There are a lot of men asking questions. Wow. Okay.
See anyone.
Can we please give it to the men?
Can we have these lights off and can I see the people asking the questions? That would be wonderful. Can you identify yourself?
Yeah. I'm Rajneesh. My question is
I can't see.
from
Okay. Yeah, there.
from Victorian prudery to sensuous India. Where do you rate currently we are in terms of the sensuous index, if you may say? and where are we headed towards? Thank you.
First of all, let's pin the blame on the Brits tonight, right here, right now. In Kolkata, their cuisine is bland and so is their attitude to sex. And they came to India with their Victorian values and imposed it on a country that celebrated all things sensual. We have the spices, the colors, the sari, the most sensual garment ever created and known. And all of a sudden, we forgot all about that. And we started to dress differently, eat differently, feel ashamed, and became secretive about expression of anything that was considered by Victorian standards very offensive to society. But when you look at what those standards did to their society, aren't we glad that we are reclaiming with a vengeance what is truly our sensual legacy in every which way? And let's have more of it.
Absolutely. I think we have time for more questions. So if you can hand the mic, yeah.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Debomitra, and
Can we turn the lights to the audience? Is that possible to do? I think, no? Okay,
so
never
before
mind.
I just
Maybe if you can walk up in front, that would be nice also.
We can do this and I can see.
Yeah, I think just to walk up in front is a...
So before I ask my question, I just want to mention one thing. Your book, Socialized Evenings, released around the same time, a little ahead of Maine Pyar Kiya. So I was a teenager then, and with Salman sending our teenage hormones raging, we got someone brought in, we were in boarding, someone brought in the contraband copy, a copy of Socialite Evenings, and we actually pasted the geography textbook's cover on it, and we passed it around.
I applaud you. Wonderful. Great.
So thank you for
I
that.
kept my clothes on. Salman had taken off his shirt. Huge difference.
But I think what we did not realize at that point of time as, teenagers is that was probably the first time the female voice, got heard. Earlier we were told to suppress, what you wanted.
Still
what
are.
you desired.
We
Yes.
still are.
So
Thank you for saying that.
yeah.
Thank you.
So my question right now is that, I'm a Gen X in the Middle Ages, and I'm in corporate, okay? And right now, we are hitting perimenopause. Many of us are hitting menopause. There's, it has always been hard, but with so few reference points in the corporate world, with women before us who have navigated this phase in their lives, I think we need more conversation around it. At the same time, I want to ask you, what should we do?
More conversations for sure, but I'm so glad you brought up what you did about, because if you examine any average woman's life, and I'm again not going to be bringing it in as a conversation that we all want to, it makes us feel squeamish, but maybe we should be feeling how we have not understood the arc of a woman's life from the time she's a little girl. She's taught to be suspicious because there'll always be a bad uncle around who's going to be, looking at her in a certain way. She has to tone down the way she dresses from the time she's pre-puberty. Then there's puberty. She has to deal with menstruation, and after that comes, maybe she gets married. Then there is the pregnancy. Then there's postpartum depression, just as she's getting accustomed to her new body, maybe feeling good about herself in her 40s, comes perimenopause, then comes menopause, and after that, it's 10 years of menopause, and her life is over. And no one is interested in her after that, after 35 or 40 anyway, she becomes invisible. So these are realities which only conversations can in some way chase us into being more sensitive, because this is a woman's life. This is the arc, whether we are in India or anywhere else. This is, it's non-negotiable. This is biology. So are we going to not accommodate these changes because we don't want to, or it's just cheaper to sack a woman, saying we don't want to really deal with her menopausal? It's always about menopausal women, that put down. I mean, heck, I've seen men who are much more menopausal.
I hear you on that.
Yeah, honestly, and who's talking about that?
Thank you, ma'am, but we do look forward to, voices like yours to support us in this journey. Thank you.
We
Appreciate it.
have another question there. Oh, okay, yeah, over there. Yes.
Good evening. This is Joydeep. I'm a brand consultant from Calcutta. You're a brand difficult to replicate, and all these years you brought a lot of color to our lives. Is there any area of life that you feel that you haven't touched yet and you wish to touch?
I need to hire you to leverage my brand to finally make some money from this great brand of mine. So, that's what no, I haven't thought of myself as a brand, but you said, is there any area of life that I wish to touch? Yes, I do, in fact, because that's the reason why I've written all those books. I wrote a book when I turned 60. I wrote a book when I turned 70. It was called 70 and to Hell with It. I wrote Insatiable when I turned 75. And now I've got the book, which is The Sensual Self, and I've just turned 78. I want women to be heard, seen, acknowledged at whatever age. That's what, if at all I have a brand, that would be the message. That is the message.
I offer my services to you.
Thank you. 10% are not 15.
Ma'am, good evening. Myself, Shoman. When Shobhaa Dé is asked scandal and she says, oh, bring it more, then what Shobhaa Dé comes out of that? Is it the Shobhaa Dé of author of Starry Nights? Or is it the Shobhaa Dé of regular contributor of Week and the Asian Age? Or is it our vintage Shobhaa Dé of Stardust?
There is no such thing as compartmentalizing for writers. I don't compartmentalize myself. And the vintage I love, and the vintage is brought out whenever vintage is required. But this is who I am right now, right at this moment. This is what I'm saying today. And it's as valid for me, whether it's I'm talking and writing my political columns, as I am when I'm writing a book, which is fiction or non-fiction. A writer should never be questioned about categories. You are writing to share and to do it to the best of your ability as a writer. And why pigeonhole any writer into any category? I can go back and forth. I can go back to vintage. I bet I could do a pretty snarky Neeta's Natter all over again if I had to, and I would love to. And why should I close any of my options as a writer?
We have another question.
Hello,
The
ma'am.
last, actually, right? Yeah. The last question, please. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi, Anuja. First and foremost, thank you. For the past 50 years, what you've done, you've spoken up, you've been the rebel.
Absolutely.
And more power to you. Had it not been for you and many other women like you, perhaps our generation wouldn't be speaking the way we are speaking today. So thanks a lot. So my question to you is this: what about the next 50? What about women? What about
50? What do you?
Yeah, no.
I'm not a medical
as in
miracle.
the next 50, what is the step forward for our generation? How do we be more classy, more sassy, and more badassy as you are?
No, but I am so confident about the younger women in our society, because they have all, fortunately, they've been raised by a generation of parents who have understood the power of education. So they are no longer discriminating in a family where there are 4 children and there could be 3 girls and 1 boy, as there was in mine. And I'm really blessed that way back then, my parents, with the limited resources that they had, at no stage did they tell the girls of the family, the daughters of the family, that sorry, we have limited resources and your brother's going to get preference, whether it's education or food on the table, or even a sports activity. So I have grown up taking all my freedoms for granted. And that was possible because of my parents. Those are the parents we should become for the next generation and the next. That let our children blossom and grow.
Thank you so much. I don't think we have, do we have time for another question? No, I don't think we have time for another question, even though there are lots of hands up. But thank you so much for being here, for being in Calcutta, and for...
Let's all wish her a happy birthday for.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. This means so much. And can we just have a huge round of applause for the phenomena that she is, to Shobhaa Dé. Thank you.